had no idea what I was doing. All I know is I had to feed it and it slept. And
He was in labor for 29 hours?
somewhere around like 27, 28, something like that.
29. One more hour more. Like,
I don't know how to do this, and I'm gonna have 2 kids.
nothing prepares you to be a father when your wife is going to postpartum.
They're selling me any clothes. I'm swiping up 100%.
Lick it, and then I was like, oh my God, I smell poop. And
Oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
yes. But there was pee inside that little sink.
Who peed in it?
I don't know, Kaylin. That's the only thing I could think of. Because where would this pee come from?
3, 2, 1, talk to me.
Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast.
My name is Gilly.
And I'm Dorothy.
And this is our podcast where we're going to talk about the wild ride on raising 2 kids and the everyday ups and downs in our experience of marriage, fatherhood, and motherhood. We're excited to share our stories, struggles, and laughs with you. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us as we dive in to what we call life. We hope you enjoy this episode. So today we're actually, this is episode 2 of our podcast, and we're actually going to be talking about, I think I'm ready to be a parent. But before we get into that, as you can see, my wife is very nice and tan.
Yes.
And the reason why she was off today is because she was overwhelmed. Because somebody went to SeaWorld yesterday.
I did.
With the kids. How was that? Because she didn't go without me. I'm sorry, you did go without me.
I went without you, and of course he would have came if he wasn't working.
Yeah.
One thing about me is I am not an independent girly at all. I need my man. I'm just like I'm nothing. Like I just need the help. Like it's insane how I literally was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna have 2 kids. And I went with a friend, obviously. So it was me and a friend and then her kid, her baby. So it was fun. It was hot. I felt like we were going to die. I forgot something, of course. I really thought I had everything, but I forgot water, the most important thing. And I forgot Liam's like water pamper diaper that's like waterproof or something. Not waterproof, but the water, you know what
water
it is.
Diaper, yeah.
The water diaper.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my friend had one, but yeah, it was fun. And we swam. Literally, I was like, let's just go inside this water because I was already sweating. We saw Shamu. We saw a couple dolphins. We got splashed by the Shamu, and Liam hated it. But yeah, we did it. We survived. I didn't die.
Was it hard, like without me?
Yes, I had to push a double stroller, and we don't have a double stroller, so that we don't even have strollers at all. Like our kids either walk or are going in a cart, and I had to push a double stroller with a almost 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. That thing is heavy, and I didn't know that SeaWorld was very. I don't want to say there's a lot of hills, but I feel like you're a lot of like little. I don't know, like
the attractions are not close to each other.
No,
like
they're
kind of far.
They're not. So there was a lot of walking involved, and just like I got so tan. I really thought I was gonna die.
She mentioned a funny moment that about Liam. They went to Shamu. They went to go see Shamu, and for some reason these mothers took their kids in the splash zone.
Yes. Yes. My friend was like, let's go in the splash zone. She's like, they don't even like splash that hard. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
it's the reason why it's called the splash zone.
So we go, and Kaylin and my friend got soaked, and her son. Me and Liam, we got wet, but not a lot, but enough for Liam to be like, let's go.
There's a video. I'll probably insert the video.
All in all, it was fun. Got it over with, and now I could say that I took my kids to SeaWorld by myself this summer, and I won't hear that from Kaylin. And that's it. I will not go again without Gilly at all. 100% no.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into our topic as we said. So I think I'm ready to be a parent. Before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to all you guys watching.
Yes.
Man,
Thank you so much for all like the
the
love that we
support,
got,
like
the support, the comments, the texts. Like you guys are amazing. Like
for real, like where I was blown away. Like I was at
yeah.
work and because we didn't talk about it like that. We didn't like do a countdown or anything.
No, we
We
didn't.
just threw it out
It
there.
just yeah.
It was literally Sunday. We're like, hey, let's do this podcast. Like let's
Yeah.
just start it. We didn't think anything of it, and so many of you guys watched it, and so many of
Yeah.
you guys shared it and commented
Yeah.
and just showed love. We had over
Yes.
100 and something likes on that reel.
Yeah.
I was just blown away. I was like, man, like we're getting some love. So
Yes.
shout out to you guys. Thank you. We're gonna have to make another Instagram page
Probably so.
to kind of throw up all this stuff and ask the questionnaires and all that
Yeah.
stuff too. So big shout out to you
Yes. Thank you
guys. Big old
guys.
thank you. So the subject today we want to talk about is I think I'm ready to be a parent. In reality, I don't think you're ever ready to be a
No.
parent.
No.
I think, especially for us, for me, I always wanted to have kids. When I was like in seventh grade, like I was like already had like kids' names in my head, and I love babies. Like, I think I'm dreading the day when we can't have any more babies. Like, it's like okay, this is it. Like, that's gonna be the saddest day. Like, I'm probably gonna just be alone for, looking at baby pictures and all that. But it's super joy. But honestly, how did you feel? Like, did you ever feel that you were ready to have?
No. I mean, I think I had a time frame and like what I was hoping for, but there was a season where I was like, I think we're ready. Well, we had said after a year we were going to have kids.
Yeah,
We tried and it didn't happen as fast as we thought. So it took a while,
yeah,
which I'm really grateful for because in our minds or in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm ready. But in those moments, I was like, man, like I guess I'm not ready. I guess God's telling us to wait because if so, like it would have happened already. So I think in that moment, I was like, okay, I guess we're not ready. But I mean, I think we all know like the reality is like, you're never going to be ready.
yeah,
You could do like all your to-do list, all the lists that you have, like you could complete them and I'm sure you're still gonna feel not ready. Um, but all in all, not to be churchy, but it's obviously in God's time. Whenever
for
that
sure.
is, it will happen. But yeah, I agree. I don't think you will ever be ready to have kids or to start a family.
Yeah, I think a lot of time I mean, in the perspective of people that are single, like they're probably not even thinking about having kids,
No.
or then some people are about to get married and like, man, I want to have kids right away. There's some people that have been married for multiple years and they just haven't had kids yet
Yeah.
because they're traveling and doing all those things. Like whatever season is, like it's 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 going to be perfect for like what she said. Like your
Yeah.
God's timing is perfect for your life and to have for your children. You know, and even for the parents that maybe they're trying to, but they're having miscarriages, or people that are not able to have children. That's what the doctor says. There's so many stories that we hear, even with us too. We can talk about that in the future, that literally God has blessed us with children, and I call my Kaylin my promise, because I remember God strictly telling me like, no, I promised that I was going to give you. And it was hard at times, but we never blamed each other. And it was just like, okay, like this is a reason why this is happening. Like, let's pray together, let's fast together. Truly just honoring God and just asking him for a child. And thank God, not want to say thank God, but he has blessed us, and we're truly just he's always faithful in that.
No, yeah. I mean, I always pray and thank God, like, thank you, Lord, for giving me these kids and letting me take care of them here on earth because I think that's very important for us to know that these kids, obviously, we're birthing them and we're giving them life, but they're not ours. They're God's, and He gave that to us. And I just thank God all the time. I thank you for just letting me take care of them, letting me raise them here in this earth, and just for them to become whatever you want them to be. It's a struggle sometimes, of course,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm grateful that I have two little kids at this moment, because I think being a mother is something that most women dream of. And I literally never thought that I would be here today. I always thought that I was going to die like at age 20. So to say that I'm here with two kids, 31 and married,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. I think um in that moment we got married, and then we wanted to wait for a year and then try to start to see if we could start our family. And like Dorothy said, like it took some time, but it got time for us to, like, every month, like we're like, okay, there's something that we got to do. And embracing other people that were having babies around us, um, going to those things and supporting those families, because we always want to celebrate the blessing that God is doing. Just because I don't see it in my life doesn't mean I can celebrate somebody else's. And it's kind of like you want to embrace, like, it's already there for you. And once I was literally sitting in this same area, and Dorothy was in that restroom over there, and she came out crying, and I was like, yo, it's okay, like, I already made a choice. I'm gonna go see with the doctor. And then she found out that she was pregnant, and we cried here. We literally cried in the same area. And now we have Kaylin, and it's such a blessing. And I remember in that moment, I was trying to prepare myself to be ready, and I remember buying a book. I went to what is it, Books and More, or I don't know.
Barnes and Noble?
No, Half Price Books, maybe.
Okay.
And I bought this book. You can probably look it up. I have it here, The Expecting Father, the ultimate guide of dads to be. I don't even think I read the whole book, but I just kind of read it just to kind of like get some input. um I was just excited to be a dad. I was
Yeah.
excited, like something I always was looking forward to. And then um, and get to share it with the person that you love, and it's a mixture of both of you guys and this little baby. And they have, I mean, Kaylin came out looking like me, so that was kind of
I mean, both of my
both the
kids,
kids
our
look,
kids did come
the
out
genes
looking
are
like you.
strong.
Yeah.
But man, I remember when Dorothy was pregnant, and then we're having Kaylin, and the expectancy of having Kay, Dorothy was in labor for 29 hours. Was it 29?
Somewhere around like 27, 28, something like that.
29. One more hour more. Like, no, but like she was in there for a long time. And just to hear the doctor said that we're going to have to do a C-section. And I remember being behind the curtain, and the anticipation of just me and her, and it's just us looking at each other. And she's on medication, and she's trying to, like, she's been fighting this whole time. And literally in this moment, you start hearing this cry on the other side, and everything just lifts off of you. Like, everything just, like, it's such a beautiful moment. And I was like, oh my God, she's here. Like, she's finally here. And you hear this crying. And I remember when Kaylin was over there and they were cleaning Kaylin off, and she was crying and like yelling. And they're like, Dad, you can come over. So I started walking that way. And it was like graduation, because it was like a hallway. And I was like walking towards Kaylin. And I just started talking to her. I was like, hey, Kay. I was like, I'm your dad. And like in an instant, she started like just calming down, because she recognized my voice. And it was such a beautiful moment that I will never forget. Like, only I experienced that with her, and nobody else. Like, the first, like when she came to this world, it was such a beautiful moment. And nothing in my life got me ready for that moment. It wrecked me, and like it's such a moment that I hold dearly to my heart, that I can just relive every day in my life. And in that moment, as a father, especially for fathers, there's something that happens to you that you kick into this mode, because obviously Dorothy had a C-section.
Yeah.
And like the strong Latina woman that she is, they said stay downstairs, but right away she was climbing up the stairs and walking around and all that. But her reactions were a little slower, because obviously she's healing.
Yeah.
But man, like I remember not understanding like the readiness that a father has. I jumped up when the baby was crying, jumped up, and I was there to take care of her, to feed her. Um, I was more caring about Dorothy, in the sense of like, no, you rest, you do these things. But there's also like science behind it as well. I found this that's dopamine that a father gets, that gets to your brain to kick this mode on to kind of be there for your family and your baby. So it says the father's body releases dopamine when they interact with their newborns. They're hormones that are produced when fathers cuddle and play with their babies. It is associated with feelings and warmth of bonding. Studies have found that a new father with low testosterone levels are more likely to release dopamine, and that the more dopamine they have, the more playful and loving that they are with their babies. And I think being there with Kaylin, but also being there for Dorothy, um, and Dorothy's like, oh, you were so good taking care of Kaylin and taking care of me. Do you remember that moment, like when those kind of happened?
I don't.
Wow.
I don't. I just remember I was dead in the bed and I was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
it was, yeah.
and but I say all that because like that's just something that happened. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna be, dad of the year and carry my wife up the stairs and all this stuff. Like, no, just something that just kick in, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of fathers can attest to that as well, in a sense of like you just step in that role that
Yeah.
you were created to be. Obviously, you prepared 9 months that this baby was coming, but after when Kaylin was here, like, was there any moment for you that you realized like you just kind of stepped into it or not necessarily prepared for it?
Well, I think as mothers and as being a female, it just naturally comes
The
to
mother,
us.
the mother
The
instinct.
motherly instinct just naturally comes. I had no idea what I was doing. All I know is I had to feed it and it slept. And for the first, what, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 months. Because after like that, they start being a little bit more active.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just naturally comes to you. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't read any books. Maybe I should have. But I feel like in the beginning, like in the first 3 months, 4 months ish, it was a little bit harder on me and on us too, because that's when your dad,
Oh, yep,
excuse
yep.
me, went to, he was in the ICU for a good while. And I was going through a really bad postpartum and
Hmm.
thing just
And nothing prepares you for that
nothing
either.
prepares you for that. So like I said, it just came naturally, but I was still very, and of course the support of like friends and family, as
Yeah.
my in-laws, like they were all always there helping me. So I think that really helped me in that moment. But as far as like being a mom in the moment in that beginning, like it just came so naturally. Like, and I had nieces when I was like maybe my senior year or maybe my junior year. So like I kind of knew already what was going to happen, and I helped a lot. Gilbert was there too,
Yeah.
helping a lot with my niece. So that really helped me. And I have two nieces now. Well, I have two nieces and a nephew now. So like growing up, I would take care of her. So I knew what was to come, and I knew like not that I was prepared, but I feel like it was very familiar. So like for this to happen, for me to become a mom, like this is gonna be my child now. So it's
Yeah.
gonna
It's
be
different when it's yours.
mine, and I'm gonna take care of it and be there and just be the best that I could be. And
Yeah.
it just comes really naturally.
Yeah, big time. And it's like one thing that you touched on is like nothing prepares you to be a father when your wife is going through postpartum.
Yeah.
Um, like she said, nothing prepares you for the life obstacles that happen around you.
Right.
Literally, like Kaylin was born, and then my dad had silent heart attacks that put him in ICU. He was there over 3 months.
Yeah.
So he missed like the first like 3 months of when
Or maybe four-ish.
when Kaylin was like
Yeah.
a month and a half probably.
Yeah.
And in reality, man, I thought I was gonna lose my dad in that moment. It was a scary moment because I'm the only son, so like I'm the oldest, so I had to like step up and be there for my mom and my sisters, and we had an amazing church community that was there. Um, but then I'm also like not working because I'm
Yeah.
obviously here,
Mhm.
and then I have my newborn, and it was a crazy, crazy
It was a
moment.
crazy time. Crazy
But
time.
God was always there and always
Yeah.
faithful, and my dad is still here. My dad is seeing my daughter and my son grow up, um, and it's just nothing prepared you for that at
Yeah,
all.
nothing.
Um,
We were not expecting that. Like it was crazy.
and like even for like people that don't have kids, like we say that not to scare or not to worry, like, oh man, like this all this stuff's gonna happen, but it's just that you should know that you're doing perfect the way you're leading your kids already. Like not being a parent,
Yeah.
you're doing a-okay. Your kid is loving you and you're the biggest superhero that they know,
Yeah.
then you're doing an amazing job. Obstacles may come, but you're still going to be that child's parent, and you're still going to lead the way you need to lead. And truly, for us, God was the main thing, the main focus in our lives, because that whole situation, He was the only thing that we could lean on and trust on. My wife was there for me, but again, there was a moment that like I could rely on her, but regardless, like I had nothing else to give, and God was the only thing that I can rely on in that moment. And He comes through time and time again, and nothing, like I said, prepared me for that. Another question or another thing I wanted to get into is don't compare yourself parenting um, compared to what you see on social media.
Yeah.
But there are good influencers out there. Do you know any, or do you?
I mean, I follow a couple, and of course, like I have, I don't want to say like a shield, but I follow like a good chunk of influencers. Some are like in Texas, some are outside of Texas, but of course, like they look amazing, you know, in their pictures and the videos. But you're only seeing a picture, you're only seeing what a 1 minute story, and we cannot define their marriage or their parenting skills or anything in that area based off that, because there could be 100 million things good, but there could be 100 million things bad, and that's not for us to judge or say anything. And I know for sure, just like any, they're just human beings, just like you and I. So I know for sure they deal with certain things with their kids, with their parent life, mom life, dad life, marriage. So I really try to put that in perspective, because I feel like when you are an influencer,
Yeah,
you have so many eyes on you. So many people are looking
yeah,
at
yeah,
you. So many people are telling you things already. The last thing you need, I mean, there are people that do already like judge on parenting on some of these influencers, and I don't know how they deal with that kind of like, I just don't know how they deal with that. I could not. But it is what it is. Like, you, everyone parents their kids differently,
yeah,
and that is okay. It's going to work best for you, and what I do is not going to work best for your kids.
yeah, yeah,
But I think influencers in general, I do follow a lot of them, and I know, I'm saying this from the outside, they look amazing. They look like they do great with their kids. But don't let a picture or a story like identify that. Like, you don't know. They're not perfect,
yeah.
just like you and I.
And I think like too, like just don't compare yourself to that.
Oh
Like
yeah, 100%.
if you see them like buying the new
Yeah.
stroller 3000 that like orbits
Yeah.
by himself, like don't think that you have to buy those things
Like
or
if
that.
they're selling me any clothes, I'm swiping up 100%. But with anything parenting, I'm like, let me think about
You
this.
know, but like I know that you can definitely get influenced by those things
Oh
because
yeah.
you see them and you're like, man, I want that for my child. Because
Yes.
as a parent, you want the best for your children. You want to be bougie.
Yes.
This is your child, so you're like, oh, my child's gonna wear this, and
Yeah.
my
I mean,
child's
that's
gonna
their
wear,
job, is to influence
and then
us.
to influence to buy. So like they're doing their job,
So,
they're doing the
right.
justice. But
But you
my
have a choice.
and a budget.
And a budget,
You have a
yes.
choice and a budget. But yeah, and it's just like she said, everything is painted, to look glamorous, and
Yeah,
but don't feel that you're any less because you're not that or whatever.
right.
And I think there are good influencers out there,
Oh,
like
yes,
even
there is.
on YouTube and stuff. Like Miss Rachel, obviously, she's very educational. She used to be a
Yeah.
kindergarten teacher. So my son watches Miss Rachel. He learns so much just from that. And I think, too, like, you think about back in the 90s, going back to nostalgia time, but like our parents didn't have YouTube, or our parents didn't have electronics.
No.
Like, they were the
Influencers per
influencers. Yeah,
se.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, like I remember, like I strictly remember it was me, my sister, Abby at the time, and my mom had her camera recorder. It was a big old camera recorder, and she's just filming us in the house. And like, but she kept us always doing something. You know, we were either doing something outside or we're doing a project. She's the one that kept us learning, and she's the one that just kept us going. She was our influencer. And now, like, raising my children, like, I have that in back of my mind, like, you know what, when my mom did this, you know. And we both have different parents, obviously, because that would have been weird if we had the same parents. But we were raised differently, so
Right.
she's able to bring something to the table, and I'm able to bring something to the table, and we have a comparison of what's going to be good for our family. And then we start a tradition here with
Yeah.
ourselves, and hopefully that our children get to take that and move on, and hope that they like, man, my parents did good with me, or this is what my parents did to edify me when I was a child. And so shouts out to my mom, shouts out to the moms out there, shouts out to
Yes. All the
Dorothy's
moms.
mom, and just the way that they led us, we're able to lead our children. And one thing too I want to say is, don't compare yourself to be an influencer, but be the influencer in your own life.
Yeah. In your
You
kid's
create your
life.
content.
Yeah.
You create the one in the sense of you're doing the best you can, and you're doing what's working for you. If you want your kids to eat organic strawberries and fruits, then
Do
like
it.
do it. You know,
Yeah.
whatever works for you is going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Surround yourself around good parents, good mothers,
Yes.
and have that community with the church family, with just the ladies in general that can talk to you about postpartum, about
Yeah.
struggles of having um, terrible twos with kids. Definitely, when we had ours and we had some questions, we asked those questions to people, and
Yeah.
they were able, like, oh, like, well, you know, to keep the kid from sleeping with you, you know, you got to leave him in the crib, and sometimes you got to let him cry a little bit.
Yes.
And but if I didn't take those things into actions, I would still be struggling. I mean, struggling with our kids sleeping with us in our room.
Right.
Which Kanan still pops
She
in
still
there.
does.
She's
Yeah.
like, she negotiates with us, like,
Yes.
if I do this, can I sleep with you?
Yeah.
And can I do this? And I'm like,
Yeah.
signing a contract for like her to stay in her room and stuff. Um, so there's a big point. So you're doing good just the way you guys are,
Yes.
and just know that those kids love you, and the kids
Yes.
look up to you. You're their superhero. It means the world to me when I come home from work and I hear "Daddy" and they run up to you, because in that moment you're their pride and joy and possession.
Yeah.
Want to get into this portion where we have some questionnaires that I put up earlier today.
Yeah.
Ask us any questions, and we actually got some in today. So this one is one thing God has taught y'all as a couple that has changed your marriage forever, and that's from Cass. Did you want to answer that, or I have one?
Okay, go.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think the biggest moment was it last year? Last year, Liam got RSV. Right,
Mhm.
RSV.
I think it came down to that.
He got really sick
Yeah.
and was placed in the hospital. And it was kind of with his lungs and breathing. Um, and as a parent, or in just in general, like, you kind of have like, oh, okay, like, there's, you know, they're sick, like they're gonna get better, then give medicine. Well, he was getting worse and worse, to the point where he was in the hospital all week, and his breathing wasn't right. Like, he kept like just taking deeper breaths than he needed to, and he was breathing faster.
Yeah.
Right, he was breathing real fast.
Very hard.
We went to the children's hospital. Then they ended up taking us to, well, went to emergency, then took us to the children's hospital. And every report was just coming. It was getting worse and getting worse. And then it got to a point where they had to put a mask on him. And he was, what, one or?
He was 1.
Like 1.5.
Yeah.
And
1.5, yeah.
as a 1-year-old, you can't communicate well. You can't, you're just you're a baby. And literally, our son was behind a mask, and he had to keep it on. Like as a child, you want to take things off, and he couldn't. He had to leave it on for his own good. He was like sleeping most of the time, and it was a scary moment for us, because it got to a point where they're saying like, if he doesn't get better within the next couple of hours, then we're gonna have to dilate him, or
I think it was some kind of something surgical.
they were gonna
Could
have to
be
like,
wrong.
he was basically gonna be asleep,
Right.
and then they're gonna put the tube in his mouth
Yeah.
and go that route.
Yeah.
And that's what we didn't want. And I remember just like overwhelmed and just crying. And for us together, it was hard, but um, that's just one moment that I felt that was pivotal for us,
Yeah.
because we came to realization like, hey, like it's out of our hands. Like we just like, well, what we can do, and we got together, we prayed, we told our family, we told our church family, and we just had to believe in God.
Yeah.
We had to put all trust in Him. And I remember that moment of just like, okay, God, we fully surrender. Like, we can't do nothing in here. Like, you have to be the one to show up, because we can't do nothing. Um, and I kid you not, that moment, like, I felt that when we put complete trust in Him, things started to change. I started seeing just a lot more different signs. And I remember just going to the hallway and seeing a cross like through a window. And like, I just felt like something told me, like, hey, turn around. And I saw that. And then it's like, I just saw the cross there. It was on top of a building, but it was huge. Like, and it was random the way it was. And I just remember, like, my cross is still there. Like, my cross never changed. Like, I'm still here. And I remember just coming to Dorothy. I was like, man, like, he's going to be okay. And then within moments, within a couple hours, he started changing his breathing to the point where they did, because they only gave him like what, 4 hours or something like
I think
that.
they gave him like maybe. I
Like,
thought it
it was
was
like
2 hours. I
2
could
or
be
3 hours, I
wrong.
think. And
Yeah.
they're like, if he doesn't improve, then we're gonna have to do that.
Right.
And then we were praying and just hoping, believing, and then within those 3 hours, his breathing changed.
Yeah.
And he started getting better in that moment.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, like, he's doing better. Like, we're not gonna have to do that. And then within the next day, they started removing. Got to the point where his pressure of his air was going lower.
Because it was at the max.
It was at the max already, yeah. And then it was going lower. That, oh, well, he's gonna have to drop 2 more. Oh, he's gonna have to drop 3 more. And then the mask came off, and I was like, oh my gosh! And like, you see his face, and you're just like, you want to trade places with him so bad, and it's just, he has to fight on his own, and to the point where he was good, and then he was talking, and he had this IV in him, and he was able, they would take it out, and he walked out of the hospital. But I think that was one of our pivotal moments as parents, coming together and realizing, man, like, this is out of our hands.
Yeah.
Like, we have nothing else to do but to believe and trust. So that was a moment that brought us together, and really relied on who He is. So thank you, Cass, for that question. I hope that it was a good, encouraging story, and it was a good reminder for me too.
Yeah.
We had one more. It said funny parent story, and that's from Matt.
There's so many of them.
I know, you got to tell him at least one.
Do you have one in mind?
I have one, but you can go. Mine just happened today.
Which one?
Mine happened today when I was cooking the chicken. I brought it out to the table, and then like, I smelled something, so I was like, oh, Liam needs a diaper change. So I went to go change his diaper.
Okay.
I wiped him and everything and stuff, and then Kaden did something. I got sidetracked, so I got their plate ready and all that stuff, and then I'm here pulling the chicken with the fork, and then I get my chicken and have like barbecue sauce or whatever on it. So then, like, I put it, I lick it, and then I was like, oh my God, I smell poop. And
oh my God,
like,
yes.
I was like, I don't know if poop is on my finger or what. So
you just ate your son's
poop.
poop.
Oh, I hope I didn't.
That's
I just smelled
disgusting.
it. I used wipey, so it wasn't like poop on my finger, but still, it was It
I
happens.
get. I get.
I was like, oh my gosh, like
You
literally.
just reminded me of a good one that I wanted to tell this for a while, but I just never did. I think one of you and like maybe your sisters know, but it was man, this was like probably a year ago, and it was both Kaylin and Liam, and they're in their room doing their thing. I don't even remember what I was doing. I don't know if I like just fell asleep for a minute, but I was in my room and it was pretty quiet in there. And we all know when it's quiet, that
There's
means
something going
something's
on. Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And so I think Kaylin or Liam came and they're just like, it was Liam. He's all drenched. And I'm like, what? Like, if he just took a bath. And I said, what happened? Like, the doors are closed from the restroom. Like, there's no access to like the toilet or anything or the bath. And I'm just so confused. And like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And there's a Chick-fil-A cup, but I think there was like tea or like Arnold Palmer or something. I don't know, but he didn't smell. I don't know. It was so weird to me. And I'm asking Kaylin, and Kaylin's just like, I don't know. Like she all so sorry. This is just coming back to me. But I'm like, she was probably lying to me, obviously. But I was like, what happened? She goes, I don't know, mommy. Or like he dumped. I think she told me like he dumped whatever on him. Then I started to smell pee. And I said, where is this pee coming from? And I'm like, do you have pee on you, Liam? And Liam like was barely like one, I think. He can't even talk. And I'm just so confused. Well, come to find out that there was pee. There's a little kitchen in the kids' room and there's like a little play sink, but you're able to take it out, obviously, and put it back in. But there was pee inside that little sink.
Who peed in there?
I don't know, Kaylin. That's the only thing I could think of. Because where would this pee come from? We had Puddles, I think, but Puddles was not allowed upstairs. So there was just no other way. Liam had a diaper and he dumped the pee all over him.
I'm confused.
I'm so like to this day, I never understood what happened, and Kaylin never told me. But I'm like, the pee had to come from somewhere, and I think Kaylin peed it. Either she peed in the cup and poured it in there, which I think is what happened. But I would have found pee on the floor. Yeah,
Wow.
that is not more of a funny but crazy, and still like I
It's
don't
like
know how it
It's like
But in the moment, I was so upset, so upset. I remember calling Gilbert, and I think I had the kids in the restaurant. I was like, "Y'all are both going like to the freaking bath. This is disgusting." And I remember calling him after the fact, and I was just laughing. I was like, "You're not gonna believe what just happened." Like in a span of like I don't even know, like the less than
like Law and Order.
minutes, like.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I feel I can't even like still this case is still unsolved. I don't know what happened.
Bum, bum.
But yes, I mean there's more from where these two stories came from.
Oh my god.
It's just a toddler that is 2.5 and a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Like the 2-year-old's gonna do whatever the 5-year-old does. Or the 5-year-old is probably going to like initiate and be like,
the
hey, let's
2-year-old's
go do
gonna
this.
be the
And the 2-year-old's gonna be like, yeah, let's go. Like
no,
he doesn't know.
That's dumb.
That's our life right now.
Yeah, so thank you, Matt. For there's plenty more.
There's so many more.
I thought of another
stories.
one, but we'll hold on to that one later. So
I don't even know. I'm still trying to think about what happened, and I'm actually gonna ask her. Actually, I probably shouldn't. She's probably not gonna remember.
Probably remember. Again, guys, this is Gilly and Dorothy. We do not know. We don't have a name for a podcast.
We still don't have a name.
So thank you for all the suggestions, and we're probably gonna put a poll or something to give
I
that.
don't know. Yeah.
One good idea I did like from Derek. He was telling me that he likes the blank. He likes the blank.
Yeah.
And just keep it blank because then you can just put the subject in there
of
the podcast or whatever it is. So let me know what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
But I know all the good ideas too. Like
I kind of like it too, but I also want to have a name for us.
Yeah. So, but this is our podcast though. This is episode 2. If you guys stayed along this to the end, thank you guys. Appreciate it, guys. We definitely want to keep doing these.
Yes.
So if you can do me a favor, do us a favor, like and comment and subscribe to this page.
Yes.
We're going to put out an Instagram, so make sure you guys follow that. Share our reels or whatever you do. And if you guys like the show, please let us know. So, and then you want to stay next to episode 3.
Yes.
And you want to say anything else?
No, just love you guys. Thank you for the support. And thanks for staying this long and tuning in.
Yeah, guys. So we love y'all.
Love you.
We'll see you on the next
Bye.
podcast.
2,
Bye.
1, talk to me.
Okay.